Have you ever thought about the fact that every surface you touch, every breath you take, and even your own body is absolutely covered in life you can't see? Don't panic. That invisible world is full of microbes, and microbes are ubiquitous, meaning they are literally everywhere. Learning about them is one of the most important things you'll ever do as a future healthcare professional. Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Learning Biology with Dr. Vanessa, where I take difficult biological concepts and make them easy to understand. Today, we're diving into an introduction to microbes, what they are, why they matter, and the fundamental building blocks that make up all living cells. Microbiology is the study of living things that are too small to be seen without magnification. These microscopic organisms are called microbes or microorganisms. They include bacteria, archaea, fungi, algae, protozoa, helminths, and viruses. Yes, viruses technically aren't alive. They're not cells. They can't reproduce on their own, but they can hijack the machinery of living cells, including yours, to make more of themselves. We'll be talking about them more in a later video. Even though they're tiny, microbes have shaped our planet, our health, and even our ability to survive. Without microbes, we wouldn't have oxygen, digestion, or antibiotics. Microorganisms tend to get a bad rep. When we think of them, we automatically think of bacteria and viruses, getting sick, passing it on to others, and possibly even dying from infection. However, though we will talk about how microorganisms can affect humans, most microorganisms aren't bad and they influence nearly everything. They produce oxygen. We have these photosynthetic microorganisms that account for 70% of the Earth's photosynthesis, and within this, it includes algae and cyanobacteria. They also help digest food. This is the normal flora in our intestines that are able to do this. They also help produce enzymes, hormones, and antibiotics, and they protect us through microbial antagonism, competing with pathogens. Microbes allow us to ferment foods, produce vaccines, manufacture insulin, and create gene therapies. An example of recombinant DNA technology is that scientists can insert genes into bacteria so that they produce proteins like human insulin. This revolutionized medicine. And then there's bioremediation, where microbes break down pollutants like oil, sewage, and chemical waste. So not all microbes are bad or harmful. They can actually be helpful. Well, what about microbes harming humans? And obviously in a pre-health type of course, we really talk about those microbes and how they affect humans and human health. And so this is the category that gets the most attention. And we want to be able to find ways to prevent or cure these diseases. But remember, as I mentioned before, the vast majority of microorganisms that live in or on or even around humans do not cause disease. Many are harmless and some are essential for health. Well, a pathogen is a microbe that does cause disease, and pathogens can harm the host in several ways: by invading and destroying tissues, by releasing toxins that damage cells, triggering excessive immune responses. Normally, the immune system works to get rid of a pathogen, something that has entered the body that shouldn't be there. And if we send the immune system into hyperdrive, that can cause disrepair also. We'll talk about that more in a later video when we touch more on the immune system itself. And pathogens can harm the host by disrupting normal microbiota. Examples include Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is a bacteria that causes tuberculosis; Staphylococcus aureus, which is a bacteria that causes skin and wound infections; influenza virus, which causes the seasonal flu; and Plasmodium, which causes malaria. Each one of these organisms uses a different strategy to survive, spread, and cause illness. Any disease caused by a microorganism is termed an infectious disease. According to the World Health Organization, or the WHO, infectious diseases remain a major global health challenge. They account for millions of deaths annually, especially in areas with limited access to healthcare, sanitation, and vaccination. Infectious diseases continue to rank among the leading causes of worldwide morbidity and mortality. So we are obviously very interested in learning more about microorganisms and how they cause disease so that we can continue to help and prevent disease. One challenging reality is that infectious diseases are not static. They shift over time, reemerge, and often present new challenges for healthcare. Emerging infectious diseases are those that appear for the first time in a population. Examples include SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19, hepatitis C, and viral encephalitis. Reemerging diseases are those that were previously under control but are making a comeback. Examples of reemerging diseases include drug-resistant tuberculosis, measles, which is linked to drops in vaccination, and cholera in areas with collapsing sanitation. The factors that drive these trends include antimicrobial resistance, global travel and trade, climate change, breakdown in public health systems, and increased interaction with wildlife. For centuries, people believed that life could appear from non-living matter, a belief referred to as spontaneous generation or abiogenesis. For example, that maggots spontaneously appeared from rotting meat, or microbes magically formed in spoiled broth. Louis Pasteur's experiments in the mid-1800s finally disproved this, showing microbes come from other microbes. Pasteur boiled nutrient-rich broth in special swan neck flasks, which are glass flasks with long curved necks that allow air in but prevented dust and microorganisms from falling into the broth. When the broth was boiled and the flask's neck was left intact, no microbial growth appeared, even after weeks and months. Air could enter, so the broth wasn't sealed, but microbes from the environment couldn't reach it. The broth stayed clear and sterile. When Pasteur broke the curved neck, allowing dust and microbes to fall directly into the broth, microorganisms quickly grew. The broth turned cloudy. Life appeared only when microbes were introduced, not spontaneously. If the flask was tilted so the sterile broth touched the dust trapped in the curved neck, growth appeared as well, again proving that microbes came from the environment, not the broth itself. From these experiments, Pasteur concluded that living microbes do not arise from non-living materials. They come from other microbes. In other words, life comes from pre-existing life, a concept known as biogenesis. Pasteur's experiments made it clear that microbes came from other microbes, but to truly understand this invisible world, scientists needed a way to see it. That breakthrough came from the development of the microscope, which opened an entirely new frontier in science. The first major contribution came from Robert Hooke in the 1660s. Using a compound microscope, he examined thin slices of cork and noticed tiny box-like structures, which he called cells. Although Hooke wasn't seeing microbes yet, he introduced the concept of cells as the fundamental unit of life, a key idea that microbiology would build on. But it was Antony van Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch tradesman with incredible skills in lens crafting, who pushed microscopy into a new era. In the 1670s, he built single-lens microscopes with magnifying power far beyond anything available at that time. Through using these instruments, he became the first person to observe and describe living microorganisms, which he called animalcules. He saw bacteria, protozoa, sperm cells, and even his own dental plaque. Leeuwenhoek's discoveries proved the first direct evidence that an entire universe of life existed beyond human sight, the same world Pasteur would later show does not arise spontaneously. As microscopes revealed the hidden world of microbes, a number of pioneering scientists began connecting these tiny organisms to human disease. Their discoveries transformed medicine and laid the foundation for modern infection control. Building on Pasteur's germ theory, British surgeon Joseph Lister realized that invisible microbes were likely responsible for the high rate of post-surgical infections. Lister's work introduced aseptic techniques, making surgery far safer and earning him the title the father of modern antiseptic surgery. His methods remain part of every operating room and every sterile procedure nurses perform today. Meanwhile, Oliver Wendell Holmes and Ignaz Semmelweis made startling observations in maternity wards. Holmes noted that physicians moving from autopsies to deliveries carry disease on their hands, and Semmelweis proved that simple hand washing could cut maternal deaths. Though mocked at the time, their push for aseptic technique, especially hand washing between patients, became one of the most important public health practices in history. Robert Koch took microbiology from theory to proof. He developed laboratory methods to isolate, culture, and identify specific microbes, techniques that transform microbiology into an experimental science. Koch established a set of principles known as Koch's postulates, which provided a step-by-step method to determine whether a particular microbe caused a particular disease. The work of these scientists contributed to the development of the germ theory of disease, which allowed scientists and physicians to finally link specific pathogens to specific illnesses, one of the most important milestones in medical history. Microbes are everywhere. They are ubiquitous. They're in the air, on surfaces, and even inside you. They can help, harm, or shape entire ecosystems. Scientists like Pasteur, Hooke, and Koch unlock their secrets, showing us that life doesn't arise from nowhere and that tiny organisms have enormous impact. Understanding microbes is the first step to understanding disease, health, and the invisible world around us. Stay curious, there's so much more to explore in the microbial universe. If you enjoyed the content of this video and want to keep learning how microbes affect the body, please make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and turn on notifications so that you never miss out on new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.